Just a reminder that this is going to be recorded, and we'll send out a recording of a link to the recording to everybody that's registered on here. So keep a lookout for that. So Connie, if you want, you could go ahead and get started with recording. And looks like we're going. So welcome to, what is it, April's Lunch and Learn for the Cycle Commuter Task Force. My name is Sarah Fisher. I am on the board and a volunteer for the YMCA at the City Market in Athenaeum. This is a group of cyclists that put together these lunch and learns. We are from the YMCA, from BGI, from Bike Indianapolis, from CIBA, and who else am I forgetting?
CERTA?
CERTA.
Commuter Connect. Commuter Connect.
Commuter Connect.
And so just a reminder, the YMCA at the City Market is currently closed, but the YMCA at the Athenaeum and Ursay Family Y are still open, as are all the other Central Indiana YMCAs. We in Indianapolis are still requiring masks when not actively working out because we're in Marion County and we want to make sure that everybody's safe. BGI at the City Market is now open, like fully open to customers, typically Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. They're closed on Sundays and Mondays, and they will be closed also tomorrow. But go down and visit them for all your biking needs downtown. The other stores are open at normal operating hours. You can check out their website. Upcoming lunch and learns. So in May, we're going to have a lunch and learn about family biking, and Silva is going to do that. And it's a really engaging topic, and she brings a lot of energy and fun to it. So I highly suggest everybody signing up and joining in on that one. And then in June, Damon Richards is going to do how to live a car light life. And so trying to, maybe getting rid of your car or using your bike more for, routine things like going to the store and stuff like that. So that'll be on June 10th. So keep an eye out for those things. Today, though, we have an exciting group together. So our team wanted to pull together some biking organizations that are doing great things around Indianapolis and Central Indiana, and really give them the floor to reach out and touch other people as safely at 6 feet distance. But wanted to get the word out about what they're doing and how you've weathered the storm and how things are looking moving forward. So we have a lively group of panelists. Andy Gramos is with Bike Indianapolis. He's the board president, right?
I am.
And then Jan Moorhead is the vice president of CIBA. Hi, Jan.
True.
Lanisha Clark is the executive director of Freewheeling.
Hello.
And then we're hopefully going to have Stephanie Patterson, but I haven't heard back from her, so hopefully she joins here in a little bit. But I wanted to kind of put it out to you guys, and we could go around the table and just talk a little bit about your story, how you got to loving the bike, what brought you to the organization you're at, and just a few minutes on what the goals of your organization are, what's your mission, what you're looking at. So let's say, Lanisha, let's start off with you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Sarah and Connie, for the invitation. This is great. I'm probably the newest to the panel as far as in my position. I am the executive director with Freewheeling Community Bikes, And I like to go on ahead and be transparent. I'm a bike. I appreciate bikes very much, clearly, but I wouldn't consider myself to be a cyclist. I come from the nonprofit community. I've been in nonprofit management for going on 22 years. And my background is youth development. I'm a youth development professional. So that's what drew me to the mission of Freewheeling Community Bikes. And that's what got me here. But I wouldn't consider myself to be a cyclist. So I know that's an odd thing to start with, but I like to be transparent. But I do have bikes. My family, my kids, we love bikes. But I've never been called a cyclist, but I hope to be called that one day. I'm excited to be here. Sarah, I apologize. How much would you like for me to share right now, or just say hello? Oh, I'm sorry. You're on mute, Sarah.
Hi.
That's rare.
I think that's good. If you could tell a little bit about what Freewheeling does and what your mission is.
Sure. So at Freewheeling Community Bikes, we are a community bike shop, and we absolutely want to engage with young people, and by young people, ages 10 to 18, and give them life skills over the shared passion of the bicycle. So we are very much all about the Indianapolis area youth. Currently, we serve about 95% of youth that we serve are from Marion County. They have an Indianapolis address. And about 5% from donut counties. So we're very much there for the youth. In addition to that, we have an apprenticeship program. So we are trying to bring bike mechanics into the field when they turn about 14, 15 years old. So we have that program going as well. So providing youth opportunities for teens. And then we have a bike shop. We have a retail operation. So we're very much in the business of refurbishing bikes and getting those to the community, and as well as having some new bikes for sale in our bike shop, accessories, parts, tools, all that great stuff in our bike shop. So that's what Freewheeling is up to right now.
So you could go in there and you could buy parts. You could bring your bike in and say, hey, I need a tune-up. And yes, you guys have staff on hand that'll do that kind of work?
We do. We do have a licensed bike mechanic who is leading our operations in retail. And he has a team of bike mechanics. He's a certified bike mechanic, and he is leading a group of bike mechanics. So yes, we do have tune-ups, we have service, and at the same time, we have items that you can purchase while you're in there.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jan, you want to go next?
Sure. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm Jan, and I took up cycling as an adult when I was 23, which is in 1973. I'm not going to say how old I am, but I was living in Bloomington, Indiana at that point, and that was a wonderful place to learn how to ride a bike with the hills and the country roads and the college too. But I was not going to school at that point. And then 2 years later, through bicycling, probably because I worked at the hospital, my wife, who was soon to be my wife, also worked at the hospital there in Bloomington. We both rode bikes to work, and that kind of. At any rate, we ended up getting married less than a year later and moving to Atlanta, Georgia, where we were a one-car family for 8 years. I rode to work pretty much every day, which is quite possible in Atlanta, although the locals think they have a winter there. It's not much of a winter. And we started having kids. We moved back to Indianapolis, at which point we did some CIBA rides. I wasn't really aware of CIBA, except that we'd started doing the Hilly in the 70s while still in Bloomington. But the Hilly is done by CIBA, but it's not CIBA entirely, of course. So I've been riding for quite a while. I still rode to work in Indianapolis until I retired a couple of years ago. This is month 28 of retirement. Rode to work to Methodist Hospital spring through fall, several days a week usually. So I haven't been a commuter for 28 months, but we're still riding with normally, in normal years, we'd be doing a lot of weekend CIBA club rides. CIBA, Central Indiana Bicycle Association. Their main thing, our main thing, is to provide rides. I think on the Facebook page it says 250 rides, free rides a year. Anybody can go on CIBA rides. You don't have to be a member. Last year, of course, the pandemic knocked that down to a fraction of that. I was just looking, and I did like 60 CIBA rides in 2019. Of course, I was retired then. Weekend rides, and there are also repeating rides during the week. And last year, 2020, I only did 3 rides, and those were, I think, the tandem branch of the club, the Hoosiers out on tandems, Hoots. I rode 50 days more in the first year of the pandemic than I did prior to the pandemic, but the rides were all shorter. Lots of rides with my wife last year. But we're still, CIBA is trying to move forward, starting up club rides again on the weekends. There already are some going on during the week, which are more casual. One of the things so far, we haven't decided when we're going to get back to normal. But one of the things is the rides, many of the rides will be more self-supported, limited support. There won't be the food and water before and during the rides. You'll be on your own. We'll be on our own to, stop at convenience stores or bring our own stuff, which is, that's not always the best way to attract new people, but we hope to be able to get back to having fully supported club rides every weekend. And we're not sure when that's going to happen, but this year at some point we all hope. Also, we put on the Hilly 100 every year since 1970 something, and 2020 was the first year that didn't happen because of the pandemic. Also, the night ride, which is quite a different ride, downtown Indianapolis, 20 some miles, attracted thousands of people. It did not happen last year either. The Hilly is in planning for this coming fall in October, and the night ride, not a real night ride, but a virtual night ride, was just announced on our CIBA webpage, on the night ride page. It's a virtual one. $25 gets you admission, and all you have to do is say, I'm going to ride 20 miles in June, and that'll get you a t-shirt, a very colorful t-shirt, and help support the future of the night ride and the future of rides like that. This be a good time to show the CIBA webpage?
Yeah, you could share that in the chat. That's awesome.
Oh, okay. Just the yeah, okay. Well, I'll post the it's CIBARide.org, and there are links on CIBARide.org to go to the Hilly 100 page, and the night ride page, and there's a Hoots page for tandems, and there's a Randonneers section somewhere there I've never hung out at. Lots of information. Much of that. There's also a log of rides, of maps, cue sheets, and also computer files you can download to your phone or your bicycling computer to not need to carry paper on a ride. My wife and I have started doing that in the last year, and that's kind of amazing not to have to be looking at cue sheets, assuming that the computer's working correctly. You downloaded the stuff and have some idea of what you're doing. That's kind of a learning curve there. Anything else? Any questions about CIBA, or will that come later?
That'll come later. And good segue. But if anybody does have questions, you could come up and ask your questions while a speaker is talking, or you could put questions in the chat, and we'll be monitoring those and asking those kind of throughout as well. Andy, you want to talk a little about Bike Indianapolis and what you guys are, what you're doing and how you got into biking?
Sure. So I'm Andy Gramos. First, a little about me. I've been cycling since I was a kid, back about the same time Jan was, back in the early 70s. since then, I've been an avid bike commuter now since the early 90s. That's been a passion of mine. Started out just here on the north side, kind of riding back and forth to work. And then I started working downtown, and I grew with our trail network. So it was kind of fun to see that evolve over the years. And now I have a really beautiful ride from basically Fort Bend to downtown, totally on trails, thanks to all the good work of folks here in the city. Avid Commuter, I've was one of the I guess founding members of the Cycle Commuter Task Force, the group that hosts the Lunch and Learns. We also have a bike train that we do, the series of bike trains coming in from different points to downtown. That's been a little bit hampered over the last year, but through that relationship, was one of the founding members of the Fall Creek Flyers. We have about 20 members in the Fall Creek Flyers that when we're doing bike trains, we all get together and ride downtown, but also get together for other functions. There's been a Zwift group working together over the winter months that are Fall Creek Flyers. So that's what I'm about in cycling. Also getting more and more over the last probably 10 years, getting more and more involved with different organized rides. The CIBA rides, is definitely getting involved with those. Probably some of my favorite rides are donut rides. Those are great. There's one in Troy, Ohio, where my wife and I get to ride our tandem every year and do that one. So that's fun. So that's me in cycling. In terms of Bike Indianapolis, I'm the board president for Bike Indianapolis. Damon Richards is our executive director, our rudder, the guy that keeps it all going for us. Our mission is to create more cyclists here in central Indiana by making it safe and fun. That is at our core what we're focused on. We do that in 3 key areas: advocacy, education, and rides. In terms of advocacy, we do have an advocacy committee that's made up of board members, and it's led by a volunteer, and we encourage volunteer membership with the advocacy committee. That group is focused on helping us get more infrastructure, help us with more bike parking, automated speed and red light enforcement controls are some of the things that we're working on, as well as signage and for trails and greenways. And then also looking to get more folks that are involved in the process, as planners or city councilors and others, trying to get them out on our infrastructure so they can see what we have and what we need. In the areas of education, we have the bicycle friendly driver class, and that is done through the Marion County Courts, and that's to help educate drivers on us and what we do and how we can work together. Also, we have cycling savvy classes for cyclists, so to help educate those that want to get into riding. Rides, we get involved with rides in a variety of different ways. We are one of our key things that we're focused on right now is neighborhood rides and getting smaller groups to get together and have their own ride and really have fun with it. So getting organizing, getting folks together, getting them to have their own ride leaders and then take their program forward is one of the things that we're really focused on now. Also organized ride assistance. Damon has been involved with such events as Nancy's Ride with Freewheeling, and then also the Major Taylor National Ride that'll be coming up in 2022. I'll talk about that a little more here in a minute. Bike parking is another part of how we help with rides, give some people a place to safely park their bikes. And then also the ride guide. You may be familiar with the paper map that has the different ride routes throughout Indianapolis. That's something that we're involved with. Some key events for us that we have. One is Bike to Work Day. That's traditionally held in May. It's been a bit of a challenge with the pandemic. We did not have that last year. This year we'll be combining that with Car Free Day in September. So that'll be a fun event for us. Bike to the 500, we're still looking to do that. It'll be in somewhat of a modified form than it has been in the past. so that it can be done safely. Another event for us is Bike to the Ballpark that we do during opening days. Unfortunately, that had to be canceled this year, but please do look for that next year. It's a fun event. And then the other thing that's more kind of looking down the road to mid 2022, helping with the Major Taylor's national ride that'll be going on in June of 2022. So we're really happy to be a part of that, and really excited, and hope people are involved with that as well. That'll be fun. We're involved with a number of partnerships. Certainly the Cycle Commuter Task Force. We're a proud member of that. Also what we call the Related Super Friends group, which is a broader spectrum of cycling organizations in central Indiana, and working together with folks on different initiatives there. We like to work with Freewheeling. And then bike shops. We're starting to form kind of an initiative where we're getting to work more closely with bike shops here in Indianapolis as well, and how we can help each other. So those are some of the key things that we're doing. The last thing I'd like to mention is that our board is growing. We are actively recruiting board members. So just putting that out there as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. So now getting into kind of the elephant in the room, and you guys kind of touched on some of this, but yeah, I know last year and still currently, yeah, things are different than what they have been in the past. So wondering about your organizations, yeah, how you guys weathered the COVID things, what you guys put in place, or yeah, how your organization is holding up, and then yeah, what do things look like in 2021? So you know, what are things that we could expect from you, and you know, just what's going on. So Lanisha, you want to start off there?
Sure, good question. So I celebrated 4 months with Freewheeling yesterday on the 7th of April. So I was not with them through most of 2020, but I can speak to what happened in 2020, which will be similar to what's happening in 2021. We paused, like everyone, you know, national mandate, we all shut down, and we all, you know, spread out. And so we were shut down. But when we reopened, we did consult, Freewheeling did consult with some COVID researchers, and just really found out, you know, focus on the community areas, the things that were shared. And in a bike shop, there's a lot of shared tools, shared workbenches. And so really we focused on common areas. What is shared is now unfortunately not a shared space. Those things need to be more personal and individualized and separate. So we went from large shared workbenches to mobile tool carts. We're able to have more of those things. So every young bike mechanic, a green apron student or a red apron student, now has a tool cart, a small mobile tool cart versus a large bench that they're sharing with 2 peers. So things like that were our COVID procedures, kind of how we made our provisions. As far as programming goes, we were fortunate to open up in the summer and serve some students, and went pretty well into the fall. Until about November, when IPS closed, we closed. So we were able to have about 102 students still go through our programming, which is great. Again, everyone's masked up, lots and lots of hand sanitizer stations, personalized workbenches, and a lot of cleaning up after everything, sanitizing, and making sure that the spaces had lots of natural airflow. So that's kind of how we tackled it from a program standpoint. Those provisions are still in place for 2021. We are still doing that. It's really forced us to get creative with our outdoor space. We're actually seeking funding and volunteers for our outdoor education lab. Things that are more mobile, things that we can take outside and use in our community spaces across the street. Tab Presbyterian Church has been wonderful with giving us some of their yard. So just getting more creative. That's kind of how we weathered that storm. Retail wise, it was a big year. It was a big year for bikes. You all know this. Bikes were flying off the shelves. And so we were very fortunate in that space that we masked up and again, spread out our bike mechanics. They got their own workbenches and we just, weathered that storm. It was very busy. It was very, very busy in the bike shop. And in 2021, it's been very, very busy. We closed for January. We opened in February thinking, it's going to be pretty slow till about March. No, I mean, till we really thought into about April, till about now. No, it picked up in March and it has not slowed down. So again, we're masking up, lots of hand sanitizer. We haven't gone to an appointment system where you have to have an appointment to come in. We're still letting people just come in and we'll accept service. But I think the name of the game for us is just, spread out, open doors and windows, put on a mask, and just stay safe. So that is how we've weathered it. We've been very fortunate to stay open. We did not have to do any, mass layoffs or anything like that. So we're very fortunate to still be doing pretty good. And we anticipate that in 2021. We do anticipate having Nancy's ride in 2021. So we're excited. That will be, yay, September 6th. So the planning team is hard at work right now to put that together. And we look forward to partnering with Damon and Bike Indianapolis and all of our other partners, CIBA and all the great organizations present on the call for September 6th, so we can honor our founder, Nancy Stimson. So it came with some challenges, 2021, but 102 students served, sold a lot of bikes, got a lot of bike donations, which is important for us. So we saw that as a success considering.
So with your program, you talk about your students and stuff like that. How do people sign up as a student, or what does that look like? Are you working on one bike for like a 16-week period or something, or what does that look like?
So yes, it is a 16-hour class, but currently we are doing it over a 2-week period. So coming in 2 hours a day, a student would for 4 days a week. So Tuesday through Friday. We're trying that out to see, getting kids in and out safer, faster. But how do they sign up through our website? We have an inquiry page on freewheelingbikes.org where they can go to Green Apron or Apron Classes, Earn a Bike, and say, I'm interested. And from there, you'll be engaged with a program team member who will reach out and talk about the dates and the classes and what time to be there and all that good stuff. But it is a 16-hour class. 8 hours of it is actual bicycle safety, which is very important. I like to emphasize that it's not all just bike mechanics. It is how to ride safely in an urban setting. It is hand signals. It is how to wear a helmet correctly. I mean, we focus on those things as well. And 8 hours at an actual workbench with instruction from a program instructor. So that would make
are they bringing their own bikes there, or you have everything that is ready and they're building their own bike? Or
Sure. So we actually are fortunate to receive donated bikes, and through wonderful partners like CIBA Foundation, we're able to purchase some bikes as well, and make sure that they're of bicycle shop level of that quality. And then we have our certified bike mechanics, our volunteers come in, make sure they're adoptable, that they are a bike that someone can safely ride. But we give the student a bike. In going through our Green Apron program, you'll become a recipient of a freewheeling bike that again has been checked by a mechanic, and then they work on that bike over the 16 hours. They are welcome to bring their own, but again, we'll give them a bike that has been checked by us, and that's kind of our preference. Yeah. So, yep, but that is the bike that they work on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Jan, what's been going on? You mentioned that rides were stopped, in 2020 and stuff. But you guys are starting to get those kicked off again. I guess as far as the rides, what are they looking like? What are you having to do? Or is it you mentioned that it's all levels, but I've always been scared to death to join a CIBA ride because I see the people outside the city market and they look like real cyclists. And I think Lanisha and I are like, yeah, down here. we're bicycle people. So
anybody that rides a bike is a cyclist. There are, I don't want to say snobs, but some people think you have to meet criteria to be a cyclist, but anybody riding a bike is a cyclist. Let me just read our mission statement, one sentence. It's to provide opportunities for bicyclists of all ages and abilities to ride their bicycles on safe, friendly, and well-organized rides, and to be informed of bicycle events and related activities. And that's been quite a challenge in the year of the COVID to help provide rides for people. Gosh, we're just getting started to ramping up towards hopefully having more rides with more support for people. That's our goal, and we want to move beyond where we were with having rides where the routes are perfectly marked on the road with the Dan Henrys, the markings on the roads, which if those markings on the roads for a ride you think you're going to follow or have been tampered with, sometimes people go out maliciously and tamper with those markings. So that's never good. We're aiming towards that. We were not able to have things like our annual members meeting at the start of the year, or at the end of the year. We weren't able to have our election meeting. Those are both involved getting together and eating with bicycling friends. Weren't able to do that. We weren't able to have a picnic ride last summer. We're hoping to be able to do that this year, but we're just looking to be able to have rides where there's not the intermingling and enclosed spaces, which doesn't happen very often on bicycle rides. But the good thing about bicycling is you can ride a bicycle and be, in most circumstances, not have to worry about infection. It's just when you get together with people before and after and during or indoors where the problem is. It's breathing the same air is the main issue with COVID. They finally realized that we don't really need to wipe down things with disinfectant quite as much as we were there for a long time. We're just aiming to get back and be able to have more rides. Our membership's down a little bit, but that's been a trend for bicycling clubs such as ours across the country for several years now. But it's been, considering COVID, it's been fairly stable. People are hanging in there, doing virtual things. I'm amazed at how many people do the online Peloton and Zwift and Strava. I log into Strava with my outdoor miles, and everybody's bicycling in England and Lord knows where these places are, but they're working at it. I'm impressed by that. I'm not doing that, but we just want to get people riding bikes, and the club rides we have, they're not commuting rides, but they encourage people. They make it easier to do things like commute if that's what you want to do, which I miss commuting to work. I don't miss the work, but I miss the commuting to work. And I'm a retired RN, by the way.
And the good thing with the biking is you can stay 6 feet apart, and if you're not staying 6 feet apart, you really have issues.
Yeah.
So the preference is to stay more than 6 feet apart biking, right?
Yeah, and there
Yeah.
are discussions about how safe the paceline riding is, which I'm not have never been an active participant in. What looks like to the average citizen like bicycle racing, where everybody's very close together. So it's probably not a COVID hazard, but for me, it'd be a falling down hazard. I'm always at the back of the pace line where I've been involved in that.
So Andy, talk about a little bit about Bike Indianapolis, how you guys have weathered, or are you guys picking up with members, or how are things going?
Well, things are like the other folks that you've heard from today. Our challenges have been similar. A big part of what Bike Indianapolis does is help get folks out and riding, and through organized rides, through bike parking, getting involved and engaged with folks. So that definitely was a challenge in 2020 for us, like it has been for others. Certainly, as we look into 2021, continuing on those things that we've been doing in the area of advocacy, which is a little more in our control. Getting back into educational events, hoping to have cycle savvy classes and do other things which are more group setting. And then with the neighborhood rides, which is really important to us, looking forward to getting with folks as we can to host and help get neighborhood rides going, along with our signature events, whether it's Bike to the 500 or Car Free Day later in the year. Certainly, we're looking forward to undertaking those live this year.
And I got to think, similar to what Lanisha said, with the fact that bikes have been flying off the shelves and stuff like that. So you have people that, haven't biked in forever or ever, that are, coming into the biking community. So, that advocacy and, education is huge when it comes to doing that.
Yeah, one of the things that we were Damon's going to talk about it probably.
No, you go ahead. I was going to prompt you to talk about it.
Well, I mean, hopefully it's the same thing, but I mean, one of the things that we're seeing with all the new folks out riding is that there's a need for ambassadors out there to help people. I mean, just when you see folks on the trail, they may not have the right equipment or they're stuck with something. And if there's something we can do just to help them adjust a derailleur or, help them do some simple things to keep them on the road, to make it continue to be an enjoyable and safe experience for them, we want to help there too. Look for those ways.
No, that's awesome.
Okay, that's not
that
really
it?
what no, that wasn't. But that was good because I've been out like the last 3 times I've been out, I have reinstalled a chain on 2 bikes, adjusted brakes on a bike, and introduced this lady to the idea that she had a front derailleur. She had no idea what that thing was and why it was making noise. So yes, there are a lot of people out there that just need a little bit of help. You'll probably run into some folks with flat tires who don't have any clue what to do. It's great to do that because as bike riders, we're all ambassadors to bring in these new folks. But what I thought you were going to talk about, one of the things that happened last year because we couldn't do group activities was I did a lot of one-on-one or one-on small group rides. And I discovered something that we in the advocacy community have not really understood for years. When you poll new bike riders and ask them, what would get you to ride more? One of the top 3 things is always somebody to ride with. So we solved that problem by creating these big riding events for them to come to, but they didn't come. What we missed was when they said somebody to ride with, they meant someone, a person who would ride with them and show them the ropes. And I had a lot of those rides last year. And as a result, we are partnering with Commuter Connect to create a program called Bike Buddies, where we're going to take more seasoned bike riders and pair them one-on-one with some of these new riders so we can keep them on their bikes instead of those bikes going back in the garage or the basement. And so if any of your experienced riders are interested, please sign up to volunteer at our website. We're going to have a training session in about a week. I say you're going to give up your bike ride that day to share bike riding with somebody else because it's a different kind of ride, but it's a really, really great experience. So.
Thanks, Damon.
And I totally get that. I'm not out riding as much. Jan, you said that you rode 50 more days or something like that last year than you did the year before. But I'm not doing that because I don't like going out and riding by myself. I want to ride with someone, and so I really appreciate what you're doing with the bike buddies. That's awesome. So I also wanted to talk about long-term plans or goals or those kind of things. I'll leave this free speak if any of the 3 of you guys want to speak on anything about, what are your like lofty goals, or, in 3-5 years, what are you guys looking to do with your organizations? And don't everybody speak at once.
Well, I think I can certainly speak for Bike Indianapolis. We want to do more. I mean, we're all recognizing we're seeing more cyclists. We're doing things, putting steps, putting things in the right place to build on. Whether it's the Bike Buddy program or some of the educational things that we're doing. We want to do more. We want to grow our organization in number, and we want to get more people riding, and that's really, I mean, fundamentally what we want to do. You know, Damon, I don't know if you want to add to that, but I think fundamentally that's what we would like to do.
More. So I guess with you guys are all nonprofits. You all are involved in the community. How do you see that interaction with you in the community? How are you looking? We've talked about how you guys are helping the community, but how can, I guess, the community help you guys? Or, I know Bike Indianapolis and CIBA have memberships. What are you guys looking for from, people like who you have on the call here? How can we help you guys grow and get better and get your word out? Or, what are you guys looking for?
Well, I can speak for Bike Indianapolis. Certainly, we want you to get engaged. We have the website address here in the chat. Please check that out. Please become a member. That's very helpful. Get connected with us, and we'll get connected with you. We'd love folks to volunteer, whether it's in a capacity of the advocacy committee or being a bike buddy, or in many ways, looking for folks to get engaged with the organization and the mission.
What does becoming a member mean?
Well,
or what does that do?
What does that do? Well, I mean, it connects you with us, and then we can work together to accomplish the things that we've set out. That's really what we're looking for.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that membership really helps us with. First of all, financially, we need money to operate. I'm always told, why don't you build more trails? And I say, it costs $1 million a mile to build a trail, and we don't have anywhere close to that budget, so all we can do is beg. But secondly, the number of members we have means something to the decision makers. It magnifies our voice when we sit in those meetings and talk about what needs to be happening in bicycle infrastructure. So those are the biggest benefits, if you will, of membership, because we are trying to get everybody riding. So we don't do a lot of stuff that is member exclusive, and it makes it sort of a challenge. It's sort of like, well, it's similar to being a member of National Public Radio, because anybody can listen to the radio, whether they're a member or not.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. The CIBA would like to engage with many of the people who are new to cycling in the last year because of circumstances, and people that are already cycling but not engaged in CIBA. CIBA does support, is I guess primary supporter of the CIBA Foundation, which is out in the community with grants are available for groups from they have a program, I can't remember what it is, where they invite people who are unable to ride to go on I don't know what they're called, tandem trikes, where a person is on the front just being a passenger, powered by somebody on the back who is pedaling the thing. Pedal cabs. They were able to purchase several of those, and they have a program where they go out and take people on bike rides who aren't able to otherwise, and a lot of other programs. There's a lot more information through the CIBA website about the CIBA Foundation, which is a good cause. And we just want to help people get engaged in in cycling, when you get interested in one part of cycling, it leads to another part that you might not even be aware of. Like, we need to be doing more in the city instead of just out in the suburbs and country. There's interesting rides everywhere. That's
so is there ability to volunteer through those programs, or?
There are, gosh, there are volunteering opportunities at the Hilly 100 and at the Night Ride. Those programs, those events would not happen without volunteers. And there are, I'm sure there are opportunities through the activities of the CIBA Foundation also. But I can't really speak to the details of those. Yeah, there is always, everybody needs volunteers. All organizations.
As we all know.
Yeah.
Lanisha, anything?
So yeah, time, talent, treasure, right? That's how it goes. So time, we're always looking for people to volunteer. Volunteering does look different as we get into whatever phase we are in this pandemic. We used to be able to welcome in groups, and now we're slowly starting to bring volunteers back in, but it's more one-on-one because, again, space, spread out. But we are in need of volunteers to help in the shop. If you are handy with a bike and have some good basic, at least basic knowledge of how to work on bikes, bike mechanic skill, we are in need of someone to help us with refurbishing bikes. We do, again, give bikes to the students, but as well as we partner with local Indianapolis agencies who have clients who are in need of transportation. They have barriers for whatever reason and would like a bike. And so we are in need of volunteers to help us with that particular program so that we can support the Indianapolis community in that way. But we also need mentors for our apprentices and people to help us with our Green Apron classes. We also need people to help with our events. Nancy's Ride, there is a planning committee, and they'll need volunteers the day of Nancy's Ride to help with that. So we are in need of some volunteers for those opportunities, as well as talent. We've had people be generous to be as generous to help take pictures. If you're a photographer, we'd love to have you come out and take pictures of our kids doing great things. So we are in need of those that have expertise in a variety of things. We're looking for that. And then treasure, again, our mission does need financial support. So for those who don't feel comfortable coming down to the bike shop, we understand, can't make it due to other commitments. We are appreciative of any financial support that we can get. So yes, there are opportunities for everyone at Freewheeling.
Awesome. So we have about 9 minutes, it looks like, on my clock remaining. So I'd like to open it up to any of the other folks that are on the call. You could hit unmute and ask any questions you have of our panelists here.
Hey, Sarah, there was a question in chat. If there was an effort to have an umbrella group to share membership fees and claim numbers, but not give up autonomy of each group. And I'm smiling, although you can't see me smiling, and Damon's smiling, because that is something that we've been working on. Not necessarily to, well, that is the Bike Super Friends group that Andy alluded to earlier, where we were, there are probably 10 to 15 different bicycling groups in central Indiana, all working in their individual silos, and needing to have collaboration and at least having the groups know what other groups are doing, as well as collaboration to be able to do things that none of the groups could do on their own, but could do collectively as a larger collection of supporters. And so we had several meetings, prior to the pandemic, for about a year. And, during the pandemic, that kind of put a squash on a lot of that momentum, especially with one of the things we were going to work on, which was an open streets event, which you can't really do in a pandemic world. So I think it's probably time to go back and revisit that idea and look at what we could do, moving forward. There is a lot of momentum with bicycling right now. A lot of new people have rediscovered it or discovered it. There is a lot of support for bicycling at the national level. And I think there's, good potential for emphasis on funding for bicycling trails and infrastructure going forward. So getting people around that idea locally will only help, the near future.
Well put. Any other questions, or anybody brave enough to come off of mute and ask anything?
Sure. My name is Stuart Milligan. I'm over on the east side of the state in Richmond. And I posed that question about the umbrella group, unrelated to biking, but relatable to the umbrella idea, is a group in Richmond called In Concert Richmond. And what they did was a lot of independent charities were having their own bake sales, events, trying to raise money. This group brought all those people together, and it's a neat model. It relates to entertainment, but I can write up something and share it with everybody in a little more detail. But that model could be mimicked, and it's been running for 12 years, and they've distributed about $250,000 to the different groups, scaled to their participation. It's kind of a neat idea. So yeah,
that is cool.
And I like all your groups. I've bugged some of you, and I like Freewheeling. I participated on a Beers and Gears one time last year, and Damon has emailed me a couple of times, and I appreciate that. I've done some CIBA rides, and the CERTA thing is neat. I took my kids to the Indy 500 ride once, I think on the 100th anniversary or something. So neat stuff. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Anyone else out there have questions or comments?
I was just going to mention bicycling, or Bicycle Garage Indy has been having spotlight on bicycling programs on Monday evenings. Many of you already have been in organizations that have been featured. But we have if you haven't been able to go to those, we now have this wonderful library of videos about all of the different organizations on BGI's YouTube channel. So I will share that in the chat as well. So this coming Monday, it will be, I'm going to talk about different national, state, and local bicycle organizations, just an overview. And then on the 19th, I've got people from Major Taylor Coalition going to be on talking about the Major Taylor mural and some of the initiatives they're working on. And there's a Major Taylor talk, actually, a author talk on Tuesday, the 20th, April 20th. And then on the 26th is Health by Design, will be featured on the Spotlight. So I will put a link to our YouTube thing in the chat, our YouTube channel, and you can check those out.
And I also wanted to bring up, I think BGI, you're also doing a Teaching Your Child How to Bike clinic.
Yes, I am, on April 21st. So that's an online clinic. For many years, I've been teaching people how to ride a bike, people of all ages, kids and adults, how to learn how to ride a bike. And last year, I wasn't able to do that. I actually have 50 people on a waiting list from last year, and at least 10 people just from this year alone. And I'm hoping to restart those lessons in mid-May. We'll see how they go. But also, I firmly believe that parents want to teach their kids how to ride a bike. I get the hard cases because they've tried and they failed, and now they need professional help, as a lot of the parents say, we need professional help, please help us. And so I have this clinic that basically goes through all of the steps that I do for teaching kids how to ride a bike. And it's teaching kids and or adults. But hopefully with the idea that the parents would take these steps and use them and be able to teach their kids themselves. I actually got an email this week, it was warmed my heart. A grandmother was going to have their grandchildren come in and she wanted me to teach them. And I said, well, I'm not ready to teach in-person lessons right now. And so she took all of my guidance, the videos I provided her, the PowerPoint, the phone call I had with her, and she just emailed me back that she and her husband were very successful in teaching their two granddaughters how to ride a bike. So I was really pleased that all of the stuff that I pulled together actually got two people riding, even if I didn't do it myself. But I'm hoping that the parent clinic will also have that same thing.
Awesome. Well, it is the top of the hour, so I want to be respectful to everybody's time. So I want to thank our panelists, Jan, Lanisha, and Andy. So thank you guys so much for being on the panel and sharing about your organizations. I know everybody on the call learned a little bit of something, and hopefully we could spread the word of your organizations to people far and wide, and you guys will get new members or people signing up for the apron classes or people coming to the ride. So I'm super excited to have all of you guys here. So stay tuned for May 13th, the family biking, and sign up on Eventbrite for that, and you'll get the link to the Zoom call. And we will be chatting, I guess, next month. Thanks,
Thanks,
all.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks all.
Thanks.